34, 6 and a dozen. Kevin Durant had 30.
Go, man, go.
Oh, Middleton had a chance to win it at the end. It was a thrilling game. And I got to say, Jay, my biggest takeaway, all the headlines are on Harden, but don't sleep on the fact that in the 2 games James Harden has been on this team, Kevin Durant has scored 42 and 30 points.
Jay, let me ask you this, though, before you go, and I was going to say this and then Zubin. How do you do that, though? How do you just plug him in and he goes for 30-plus 2 nights in a row? I don't understand. Is it that they're running the same sets that he's used to that they may have done together at OKC? Like, how does that happen?
Key, James Harden averaged 10 assists a game. I mean, assist-wise, he's always been in the upper echelon of the NBA. And that's one of the first things we talked about, just because we saw him play a style in which he had to do everything every single night, which Mike D'Antoni asked. Now, all of a sudden, you're asking him to come and play with one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen, who's a 7-footer. And the game is so easy whenever they're involved in pick and rolls. Like, that's why I said before, I think it's going to equate into a championship translate, but on paper, this is the most gifted trio the NBA has ever seen. Kyrie's a wizard with the basketball when he comes back. James Harden has won an MVP, multiple scoring champ, scoring champ outright in 2018, and Kevin Durant, 2 times Finals MVP and an MVP himself. The collection of talent is ridiculous. But last night, going to the game real quick, Zubin, I don't really care about what the Bucks do in the regular season anymore. I'm going to be frank with you. Like, the last 2 seasons, they've had the best record in the NBA for regular season. What I wanted to watch last night was matchups. I wanted to see Giannis guard Kevin Durant. I didn't see Giannis guard Kevin Durant down the stretch. You know who I saw Giannis guard? Jeff Green down the stretch. And these are the little things that you start paying attention to about getting to the next level, Key. The final possession of a game, Keyshawn.
Yes.
If you were the star player for
I'm getting the ball. It don't matter.
You get
and
you wrote a book about it.
I don't even need you to finish that. I'm getting the damn ball. I don't care if I had 27 catches on the year like Zubin said or not. Y'all giving me the damn ball. There is no other option. And if I'm playing basketball and I know Jay Will is coming up the court, I'm checking him. I'm meeting him half court, period.
It's exactly my point. So you go down to the last shot of the game. The play was designed for Chris Middleton. The ball goes in and out. And then Coach Bud says, hey, that was a good shot. It was a good shot. It's understandable, right? But the guy that is making $45 million a year, the highest paid player in North American team sports, like, I want him to have the skill set to make those type of shots. Now, I know other players need to make shots. I know people say, well, Steve Kerr made big shots for Michael Jordan and John Paxson and all these guys. But I think that those are the little things you're looking forward to see in order for the Bucks to take that next step. Because at the end of the day, they're going to have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, something that you haven't seen them do yet.
And I think you're not questioning Steve Kerr or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or LeBron James in those instances, in those situations, because visually you've seen them do it before. You've never seen Giannis to a degree in that type of situation, whether it was the playoffs last year when this came up or whether it's last night when it came up. All of a sudden he defers as basically to somebody else instead of saying, timeout, we're drawing this up for me, it's going to fall on my shoulders. So I clearly understand where you're going with it, because when you get into the playoffs and he needs to do that, basically, if you ain't practiced that during the regular season, how am I going to expect for you coming to postseason to take advantage of the situation and even know how to do that?
Exactly, Keith. The same way we just talked about Patrick Mahomes. When you saw him fall and go through that concussion, he ran out. You're like, Keith didn't even think twice. He going to play on Sunday.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I don't want to think twice about the games going down the stretch, whether Giannis is going to demand from Coach Bud that he wants the ball or not. I have to think twice about that,
The
Keith.
interesting thing about the game last night that I took away from it is the fact that that was a much bigger team than Brooklyn in terms of their size, and Brooklyn handled their business, because I think that was a question on when you get a size matchup, who would the advantage go to when the Nets face a team that got a couple bigs clogging up the middle.
And Zubin, real quick, he is the 2-time reigning MVP, back-to-back MVP, and last year was the Defensive Player of the Year. Do you know how many people talk trash to Giannis this summer about he didn't really guard nobody? He never guards the primary scorer on the other team. I don't know how you don't hear that, and how down the stretch, this is the time to go get Kevin Durant and guard
Oh,
it. Kevin
yeah, man,
Durant pushed him to the ground, Key.
Man.
Pushed him to the ground a couple of times throughout the course of the
How
game.
much does he outweigh Kevin Durant? By at least 45, maybe?
Maybe 20, 25 pounds, maybe.
Yeah, that's enough. Kevin Durant ain't pushing me to no ground, man. I'll break Kevin Durant's wrist.
It's going to be something we're going to talk about the whole year, about that next step for Giannis mentally.
As cold as Kevin Durant is, and long as I love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's like my favorite player outside of LeBron in the NBA. I'm getting on him, though. He ain't going nowhere. I'm all up on him. I'm up on him, Jay. I'm right here. You ain't moving. Soon as you go, I'm going. Soon as you go, I'm going.
Look at that defensive stance, baby. Look at it. Yeah, keep those hands active.
Come on, man. I can move left to right. I might be a little older, but you gonna work.
Last thing I would say, it could be smooth sailing here for the Nets. Next couple games, back-to-back games against the Cavs. So maybe we see Kyrie, like I said, again, and then back-to-back games with the Heat. And the Heat are not last year's Heat by any stretch of the imagination.
Hey, Jay, I'm gonna catch him at half court.
Yeah, pick him up.
Floor.
Pick him up. Yeah.
And the last thing I would say, as large as Harden was, that first game he played with Houston after he had not done any work. Remember, 44-17 in his first game. 44-17 with all that weight, and now it's flying off, and the Nets are flying.
I don't think he was big, though. He was moving slow.
It does add 10 pounds, they say.
No, but I'm saying he was moving slow, so people automatically visualize in their minds that he was fat. Because you seen him work that dude last night? I was like, ooh.
Zubin scored or assisted on 128 points in the last two games for James Harden.
Think about how much he's creating there, essentially, dishing or scoring.
MVP. That would be special if he came back and got the MVP after all the stuff he's gone through.
Yep, looking for that first chip to add to the championships that, of course, Kyrie
Team Honey Buns,
Kevin Durant already have. Start the day brought to you by Indeed. Hiring? You need Indeed. Learn more at Indeed.com.
Yeah, well, first, it's seamless with Harden and Durant because Durant scores so easily and efficiently. He doesn't really get his flow interrupted by James Harden. So now you've got two of the best offensive players in NBA history. And Harden, his ability to control the basketball and draw multiple guys to him and his passing ability out of that, John, is really just going to make this team almost unguardable at times. And we'll take a look at some examples from this one. You know, the way that he can get defenses to overcommit to him is special. And this is a perfect example. Two guards, that should just be a switch on that ball screen, but because it's Harden, you get two guys miscommunicate. They linger a little bit longer than they normally would. Joe Harris just runs to an open spot for an easy shot. Here in transition, 4 white shirts, all eyes on Harden, flow to that side of the floor, and you forget about a guy like Kevin Durant's easiest basket he's going to get maybe all season, and then he wins one-on-one matchups. This is Drew Holiday, one of the best defensive guards in the league. Can't keep him in front. He gets to the backline defender, Bobby Portis, and now it's an easy dunk for DeAndre Jordan. Just his ability to be able to control possessions. It's unlike any other player in the league. Now in Houston, it was really him every trip. And then you put 4 3-point shooters around him. This is a little bit different now because he draws guys, and when that ball gets swung and now it ends up in the hands of Kevin Durant against a rotating defense or guys closing out and their space, forget it. It's impossible to stop them. So I'm just really impressed 2 games in to how easily these two guys have meshed together, and the impact of James Harden is undeniable. The guy's just simply one of the best offensive players at creating offense this league has ever seen, and Brooklyn's now seen it for their first 2 games with him.
All right, I've been reviewing the rules. You got KD and you have Harden. You add Kyrie, that's 3. You get 5. I think this is the Joe Harris question, right? How do you fit in the new look Nets rotation if you're not one of those big 3?
I texted a buddy tonight, how much would I like to be Joe Harris right now? The guy's not going to take a contested shot all season. It's amazing to be him and living in that world because he's got one of the best strokes in the league already, and now he's in a situation where there's just not enough defenders to find him. If he just stays active, he's going to get all the looks he wants. DeAndre Jordan is a perfect fit at center also with his ability to screen and dive, and even like a guy like Jeff Green who can play some power forwards for you defensively and take some of the pressure off of KD, but then can step out and space the floor with his 3-point shooting. So I think they've got perfect complementary parts around these two guys. Here's the problem. It's not just these two guys. You're going to be incorporating Kyrie Irving into the mix, John, and I just don't know, watching that game tonight, how that is possible to incorporate a guy that dribbles the ball that much, that's that dribble dominant, and now you're going to start to affect this flow that I'm talking about that they've had for 2 games, because I think the pieces that they have around these 2 stars are perfect to the point where you could say, I see that team getting to the finals, maybe even winning a championship. When you add Kyrie to the mix, I think it becomes a little bit more muddled. It remains to be seen, but right now it's hard to imagine.
You had us all, and then you had to end on a downer, Tim Legler. All right, very good. We appreciate it, man. Listen, if Joe Harris is going to shoot 60% from three, you'd shoot 80 on that team. Thanks.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
All right, James's former team welcoming a new player, Victor.